morning, guys. Today we're going to talk about some different style of baits and where they're best used. The first would have to be what I call a search bait. That's a faster moving bait that you can cover a whole lot of water with. One of my favorite search baits is a spinnerbait slash swim bait. It's got your swim bait body and your little spinner on the bottom. Now, the nice thing about this bait is you can cover a lot of water with it. Like if you're at a new place and you don't really know where the bass are hanging out, you don't really know how they're feeding, if they're feeding heavily or if they're being kind of picky. Most of the time you use this like when the bass are kind of feeding, they're not hiding up under docks or logs or some sort of structure. You can use this to cover a lot of water. Now with a spinnerbait like this, it's ideal to have a 7:0 to 1 gear ratio. The 7.1 just makes it a little faster, especially since I fish in a river a lot. When I'm casting upstream, you have to have a little faster retrieve to get that bait so it doesn't fall to the bottom as far and get hung up. Now I'll also use it on a 7-foot medium action rod, which allows me to cast it out a little bit further. Braided line with a leader helps too. I use a Durablend leader on the end of my braided line. It just helps with resistance a little bit, and abrasion resistance, that is. When the water's clear, it's really good to run a leader. It hides the bait a little better, or hides the line to make the bait look better. But when you're using a spinnerbait, I mean, you can even go with just a traditional, willow leaf. Now this is going to have a little bit more flash, with two blades on it, a willow leaf and a regular leaf. It's going to cause more vibration in the water. The fish are going to hear it a little better. They're going to feel that pulse versus just this one with a regular willow leaf. This is a little more subtle, but it does have the paddle tail, which makes it a little more vibration also than with just a willow. Let's say with this style of fishing, you can cover a whole lot of water and find the fish a whole lot faster. And then when you find them, then you can go to a finesse bait. So this is a finesse bait. A finesse bait is like your worms, your craws, your lizards, anything that you work really, really slow. It's more finesseful. And with the finesse bait, I like to use a leader, which allows the bait to be a little more hidden. The fish doesn't see your line. And especially on really clear water, it's really important, I think, to run a leader if you run braided line. Now with a finesse bait, I like to use a 6-foot or a 7-foot medium action rod, but I use a 6.3 to 1 gear ratio reel, which is a little bit slower. So when you're working those baits in, you can kind of bounce them, tap, work your rod tip a little bit, just reel in that slack and really allow that bait to just kind of sit there. The days where it's real sunny and you got real clear water, the fish are going to take their time to hit a bait. They're not going to hit it like they would on a reaction bait. So you're going to have to take your time and really, really work that bait really slow, work it around rock piles, work it around brush piles. Sometimes you need to even run like a wacky rig where there's no weight on it at all, so it sinks super slow. But some days you can use, a ½ ounce on it and plunge it right to the bottom real quick and you'll get a hit. I prefer fishing light and just letting that worm or that craw sink to the bottom really slow. It gives the fish time to check it out and grab it, versus if it just falls past them real quick. I hope that helps you guys determine what kind of fishing you want to do, what kind of rod and reel setup you might need to fish that certain jig or spinnerbait or crankbait. But you guys have a great day, and I'm gonna get back to fishing, and we'll see you guys later.